Okay. So I promised the people that I would record this because I was talking about this on our diamond thread that I am a part of, about how whether you are just starting this journey or whether you are a diamond at the top of this company, we all have stories that play in our heads. We all have doubts that come through our minds when we're trying to do something outside of our comfort zone, or when we're doing something new, or when there's a risk that somebody's going to say no, or when we're striving for something and there's a chance of failure. Like, our brains are hardwired to, well, they're 24-hour mean making machines. They're just trying to make stories that make sense, and they're designed to protect us. Um, and that doesn't mean that they're always good at it. And what they do though is they just start to make sense of the things that have happened to us, and they start to make correlations, but they don't. So, for instance, you might have had something happen to you in your past that caused pain for you, psychological pain, physical pain, and your brain starts to make correlations. It's like, oh, well, she's about to do a scary thing by reaching out. That could possibly mean she's going to feel like she did when her boyfriend broke up with her in high school. And your brain starts giving you these stories about disconnection or being alone, or, being separated or made fun of or whatever. And we can't control them. Like, our brains cannot be controlled. Like, our thoughts come at us rapid fired all of the time. And part of the work in this business, and for longevity in a business, we have to be able to take those thoughts captive. And but what I mean by captive isn't necessarily we're going to make them go away. It's just being aware that they're there. That is so much of the skill of being successful in this business, because we'll show up one day for our business and we're going to not feel like doing the things, or we're going to need to do that scary reach out and we're not going to want to do that because our brain is telling us stories about what it means if we do. And so I was thinking about that, and I was talking to some of my diamond friends about what that looks like for them, because we, even at the top, still have stories that play through our heads. um, One of my I remember thinking through, like, when I was first starting my business, how I thought, like, once I make it to the top, that will just go away. That, like, I'll finally be confident and I won't have that stuff come into my head, but that's just not true. Um those stories stay with us, and for some people that may be like, well, Sunny, why are you telling me that? That's discouraging. I was kind of hoping it would be great. But I would rather be honest, and you be encouraged by the fact that you can persevere even with the thoughts going through our heads all the time. And so I would love it if you guys would think through some things that your brain tells you, fears maybe that you have, stuff that are hangups for you in your business, because we're gonna talk through some of those. But what I did is I asked diamonds on the team, um, some things that they have, some head trash that they still have come up in their head, and some lessons that they learned from the beginning and now. So some of the lessons from their diamonds. Um, Someone said, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. She said she remembered that one of the top 5 diamonds in all of Plexus worldwide shared her story once about feeling disconnected, about not feeling like people liked her, not feeling like she was successful. And we're just all sitting back going, what? Like, you feel that way too? Really? You're the top 5 in the company. What's going on? Right? But we all have stuff going on in our heads that we're not necessarily sharing. Um, Someone said, um, their head trash is that what I'm doing or where I am currently is not enough, that I need to have more in order to be XYZ. Um, Someone said, I can't do both, be ministry minded and make run a business making that much money. There's like this thought that can't work together. Someone's limiting belief is that I don't need more money. I don't need to do this because I don't need more money. And that limits her from showing up in her business. Someone said that her thought was, who would ever even want to do this with me? And that was specifically about the business. But she said, my brain also gave me the story. I know people are going to come back and thank me for sharing Plexus with them. That she had super high belief because that was running in the back of her head. Like, they don't know it yet, but there are going to be people thanking me for sharing Plexus with them later. And so she went with that energy of belief and focus from that place. So lots of energy, woke up pumped every morning to reach out. She was praying expectantly because she knew that if people weren't ready then, they were going to be thanking her for it later. And I remember this feeling too of who's going to be next? Like, whose life am I going to change by being brave and doing this today? Even though I have this thought, who's even going to want to do this with me? That thought can be there. Who's even going to want to do this with me? And we still reach out because we know we're doing it for a purpose, on purpose, right? Okay, and another person said that her thoughts were, these people are zapping all of my energy. How can I possibly add more to my plate? I've got so much going on. I can't be content with what the Lord has provided me and also have big goals for more. Guys, these are the diamonds that I've looked up to, that I work with, that honestly I find myself in comparison with. They have this head trash going on in their lives too, the whole time. It always shocks me. So a comparison trap too. That girl worked so hard to have that level of success. I want those outcomes, but I also don't want to work as hard as she does. Someone said that she gets a tight chest anytime she sees someone achieving big goals because it tells her, the story her brain hears is that it's not enough what she's doing. So she's putting herself in comparison. It's like, I can't reach that, right? Or her brain says, she's doing that, I'm never going to be able to do that. And then another one says, that person will always be better than me. So what's the point if I'll never be the best? Like that's the thought that runs into her brain when she sees other people doing great things. I don't know about you guys, but it's eye-opening to me to hear all the different stories that are in people's heads. And we have a choice when we're faced with these thoughts that come into our head. We can listen to the thought. We can wrestle with the thought. We can pray away the thought. We can like get busy and ignore the thought, right? Or we could potentially just drop the rope, drop the struggle. So I want to show you guys this video. I'm going to share my screen. And it's not a super good video, like quality wise, but it's actually from the guy who taught me acceptance and commitment therapy in school and who I worked with at the VA. He just does a really good job explaining it. And I thought it might just resonate with you guys. And I want to hear what your thoughts are after.
A snapshot of this problem. What's the problem you're talking about?
I'm not married. I don't have kids.
Okay.
I'm in my 30s. And it really weighs on me. Okay. It really drives me.
Not married, not kid, in your 30s. Okay. Not kid. No kids. Okay. So when this problem is, when you're really focused on this problem, what shows up inside of you?
I have a lot of thoughts about what's wrong with me.
Okay.
In some cases, I do feel envy,
okay.
of my friends who call me and tell me they've had kids or they're pregnant.
Right.
Just hopelessness. I'll never get married. Like, man, I'm going to be that, like that article I read about educated, successful black woman that never got married. That's always single, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, just feeling like, man, if it hasn't happened, so what in the world?
Mm. Okay. So let me reflect those two to make sure I've got them right. We've got
Okay.
a thought. What's wrong with me? The last thing you said was wondering if you're ever going to have somebody. And the thing in the middle, the second thing you said was
Hopelessness.
hopelessness. Okay. So you got that hopelessness, you've got that questioning yourself, you got that doubt and that judgment. Okay. All right. So let's work a little bit on letting go of the struggle with these things. So I want you to imagine that I am a monster that embodies hopelessness, doubt, questioning, all that stuff that you just described. So I wonder if you might face me.
Okay.
And imagine that you could take all that stuff from inside that shows up around not having kids, not having a partner, and like pour it into me. Like, here I am, I'm all of that stuff.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? So it's not that I'm not having kids. I am all the stuff that shows up inside of you around not having kids and not having a partner. Can you make that real in your mind? Okay. Now, life is kind of like this. We're often faced with these monsters, and we're tempted to get into a war with them. In fact, life is just like that war. So it's like, here I am, the monster of your, can we give it a name? Like, no partner, no kids? Can we call it that? Or what do you want to call it?
Old single woman.
Old single woman. Okay. Lovely.
Old lady with cats. I don't know.
Okay. I am old lady with cats. Okay. I'm actually almost middle-aged man with 2 cats. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I'm just kidding. No, let's be serious though. I'm old lady with cats. I am that thing that your mind goes to that you don't want to be, that worry, that doubt, okay? And it's like I'm this monster, and between us is this chasm that goes down for miles and miles and miles to the pits of hell. And that we're in a tug of war. And the consequence is, if you lose,
Yeah.
see where you go? So the stakes are really high, okay? Okay. So it's kind of like that, right? You pull, you wrap it around your arms, and you kind of pull. Okay, and what happens when you pull?
You're pulling back.
I'm pulling back. Do I pull back even stronger as you pull stronger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Okay. So just notice your body as you do that, what that's like. Okay. So, how do you win this war?
Let go.
All right, see if you can win it by letting go.
My hands feel better.
Okay. What else do you notice?
No more struggling.
No more struggling. What about me? Where am I?
I mean, you're still there.
I'm still
but-
here. Right. Okay. So, is the war over?
Do I need to let go?
I don't know. Can you win the war by letting go? Let's see.
Okay. Do I have to keep taking it?
I don't know.
That's what it is, ain't it? Just let you be.
Just let me be.
Okay.
Let's stay here, if you will. So what's it like to just be in the presence of me?
Definitely not as hard as struggling with you.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna ask you for the purposes of learning to hold on to this again.
Okay.
I know you don't have to pick it up now, right? So when you're doing this thing, if the opportunity to build relationships showed up, would it be, how easy would it be pulling on this rope to engage in relationships?
Very hard.
Very hard. And if you let go, harder or easier to engage in relationships?
Easier.
And yet, where's the old lady with the cats?
Still there.
Still here. Still here. So let's try something, and we'll walk towards the camera.
Okay.
So imagine that direction towards the camera is a life with relationships, or the possibility, because we don't know the future, right? The possibility, all the behaviors that you would need from you to engage in relationships, your part in it. And we are going to go there. You want to go that direction? Does that seem important to you?
Yeah.
Okay, will you walk slowly in that direction?
Okay. I don't like to take the rope. I'm not going to take the rope.
Okay, and yet where am I? You're not taking the rope, but where am I?
You're right with me.
I'm right with you. So what's that like?
I mean, I'm fine. I'm okay.
You're okay. And what if I came really close?
I'm still fine. I'm okay.
What if I came really close?
I'm still fine. I'm okay.
All right. You're still fine. You're okay. Now, I don't know how you feel about like touch, but like, could you welcome me in some way?
Handshake.
All right. Right. Here I am. I'm a part of you. I'm going to be here when you go on that date. I'll be right next to you. But notice how you're responding to me. Okay? So let me ask you a question while you're still up here. So you've got kind of a felt sense of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what would it look like if the option to date somebody or the thing that you might get struggly about showed up in your actions? What might it look like if you were letting go of the rope? What might you do differently?
Be more open to people.
Okay. Dropping the rope is being more open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that look like specifically?
Definitely not judging people that I go on a date with as potentials.
Just letting it be a date?
Just letting it be a date.
Right. So there's something about all that judging and assessing that is holding onto the rope really tightly, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's a great example. Great example. Any other examples of things you can think of you'd do differently if you were letting go of the rope?
Just be more carefree, I guess, because I've tried to put a limit on, okay, I got to go to school, I got to do this. I've tried to put a time limit on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when something didn't fit my time limit, it got kicked out.
Mm.
And then I found myself restricting how I lived
Mm-hmm.
based upon my perceived goals.
Okay.
And so just being more carefree, I guess.
Being more carefree. Okay. You might not feel carefree, but it'd be being carefree in your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And just to put a teaching point on it, my guess is that all that evaluating that you do of a potential partner on that first date is a way to minimize anxiety because there's a lot of uncertainty here. If you can solve the problem in your head, it's not so scary. Am I right? Is it something different from that, or is that kind of it?
Yeah, I mean, if I could figure out, that would be great. You know,
Yeah.
I don't like the unknown too much.
Right. You're going to minimize the unknown mentally. But does it actually minimize the unknown?
No.
No. That's the pulling on the rope. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.
It'd help if I'd unmute myself, right? Cool. Yeah. It's 2020 all over again, guys. Okay, so what do you think of my friend Matt? What'd you think of the video? Could you see yourself in it? What's your monster on the other side of the rope? This is class participation time. What's on the other side of the rope?
Well, mine's not plexus related, but as a teacher, I'm struggling with that irrational student, and I don't need to do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mine would probably be just failure.
Mm.
or what I consider to be failure.
Mm,
I would agree too with Paige. That's what I was thinking too, is just failure. You put yourself on or I put myself on a pedestal, and I feel like sometimes that just the fear of not being who everybody thinks you are, maybe.
yeah, that's really common. I feel that. Who else?
Mine would be a mix of failure and school. I had a baby at 19, so it kind of pushed me back from my dreams and my goals. And I feel like I've put myself in a time limit, and it stresses me out, like when I'm supposed to finish school. So that definitely, I feel like that video is very helpful for me as
Good,
well.
good.
Let me just kind of speak to that, because I had a baby when I was 19 as well. And I felt that too. I was behind all of my friends, all the things. And I didn't actually graduate from college until I went through a divorce when I was 30, and I turned out okay. So just be patient with yourself and don't try to make everything happen too quickly. You're
All
going to
in-
be fine.
All in the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? What's on the other side of your rope?
I just feel like I never have time. It's just time. Like running my store, and I'd love, like, I have a photography business, but I don't get a lot of chance to do it. And having 2 kids under 4, and trying to fit Plexus in, and then my family's health in the mix of all of that. I just feel like I don't have time to, like, and I can't let go of really any of it. And so that's what's really difficult, is like managing the time amongst the things that I have
What do
and
you
giving Plexus time.
what do you feel like you're not getting because you don't have enough time?
Just time to, like, really put into this business, as well as focusing on my store and giving that time, and giving my kids time, and just splitting the time between everything that I have.
So you feel what because you don't have that time?
I just feel like I can't be what I can't do what I need to do
Okay.
for, like, my business, or like even like just being consistent every day. Like, it's very difficult to, like, get that in, because my mind is in so many places.
And what has your mind told you you're supposed to be doing that you're not?
Just being consistent with everything, and sharing, and
Mhm.
just everything. Because I know what it takes, not to get to the top of Plexus, but I know what it takes, the consistency and talking to people that are under you, and follow up and all that kind of stuff. But the actual time to do all of those things, plus doing everything else I need to do. I just feel like I need more than 24 hours.
Mm. You need more than 24 hours to reach the level that your brain is trying to tell you you have to achieve in order to be successful.
Yes.
Our brains are noisy like that. What if the story was you're taking steps and moving in the right direction every day? What if that was success?
I think that would be good. It's just a matter of, like, some days I don't feel like I'm taking that step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
For some reason, I don't believe that. Because I feel like you are showing up every day, doing the best you can with what you have where you are.
Well, I mean, I know that, like, I'm not posting every day.
But you're still posting.
I am, but I feel like I could do more.
Those post police are gonna come get you.
Lauren's gonna come get me. She came right in time. She knew I was talking.
She just showed up. Lauren just showed up. She's going to get you.
I'm
Give
here.
yourself some grace. You know,
It's just hard because I don't feel like I have, and I've told Lauren this before, like, it'd be one thing if I could like cut things out that I didn't need in my life or, whatever, but I can't. I don't have anything.
It's all important.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's all important. And you can still do the things. But your brain is being really noisy and bossy about what level it thinks you need to be doing all of the things. But my question is, on the other side of that rope, how much time, how much like mental energy are we wasting tugging at the rope, trying to like find and make and do more? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like, is it like, that's exhausting, truthfully. It's exhausting. And I say that because I feel that when I have been in mental struggle with myself about, I've mentioned with you guys about my leadership, like struggling with what that looks like. And when I'm moving toward that, like trying to work toward proving my whatever, it winds up making me feel gross. And then I wind up not doing as much as I could, because when I have a hot second, I'm just like, I need to eat a bag of Oreos and watch trash TV because I just need to shut my brain down, right? Because I'm like working myself up in a tizzy instead of just dropping the rope, right? Just dropping the rope and moving toward the direction I want to go.
can I share something real quick that I think
Please.
what kind of it goes along with this, and maybe this, Amanda, will kind of help with where you're at, thinking like you don't have time or that you're feeling overwhelmed. I'm in a group with the Rainies, and Kyle, they always post some really great things, and he shared just, I think yesterday or earlier today, I think it was yesterday before they went to Australia. But anyways, it says time is the one commodity we cannot increase. Our income, education, influence, and community we can gain more of, but not time. Though we often say we don't have enough time, maybe time isn't the issue. Since we all get the same 24 hours, then is time really the enemy? Or maybe it's something else. I don't think that we have a time problem, but we may have a direction problem. Sometimes we just don't know where we are heading. We can be busy, but that doesn't mean we are productive. Time may be the most valuable commodity, so we need to spend it wisely. You may think your frustration is born out of your lack of time, but the source could be lack of direction. And then he just says, so where do you want to go? No rush deciding, take your time and then put it to good use. So, and I thought, I could relate to that too. And I kind of, I used to be in that same mindset as you were, where I felt like I was, I had so much to do, and I'm such a people pleaser, Enneagram 2. Like I always worry about other people, my family, my coworkers, friends. And I know I would stretch myself thin. And I always use that excuse too. Like, I don't know if I have time, or, and priorities are another thing, prioritizing what's important, and obviously the most important things are what we give most of our time to. But I like how he referenced that, it's not a time problem, but maybe, we just don't have, the right things in place, and we're not, I don't know. I just thought it was really good. And I've really tried to improve that myself too. And, I've done a lot of, I don't know how religious everyone is. I'm very openly religious, and I've been doing a lot of praying about just, life, my business, my time. And that's really helped too. And God's really moving, and answering. I'm not I need obvious. So I'm one of those people that I feel like I overlook a lot.
Mm.
So
That's good. I think it kind of ties into what I was going to say next was
once
we have
there,
to-
and I know it's
oh,
no fun.
she froze for a second and then came back.
Oh,
You're-
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, so that was what I was going to say or move into was when it comes to, we need to redefine what success looks like. If we're constantly beating ourselves up for this like achieved high thing, maybe we should make, Preston Pugmire says we should make our success easy to feel, because we build on that energy, right? We build on that feel good of, I showed up today for what matters. I did the best that I could do at my job today. I did the best that I could do, with my kids, and that's enough. And tomorrow I will show up and have time or space or make a priority to make a Plexus post. It might not be every day in this current season, but it won't always be this way because I'm prioritizing what matters, and that is success. The success is in the journey, not necessarily the destination. And the proof of that is in the fact that there are these diamonds at the very top of the company who still don't feel like they're doing enough. So it's not about reaching the top, though. It does feel great. And the income is amazing and the time freedom is wonderful. And you want that, right? I know you all want that, and we'll get there. But it's not about that title or that dollar amount. It's about every day taking steps in the direction that you want to go. It's Olivia in showing up for classes even though you're a tired mama. It's showing up and doing your work even though you don't want to. It's showing up for people even though it's exhausting to you, but you have said that people are your priority, and that's what you're going to show up for, right? So we have to normalize that we all have head trash, and it isn't helpful for us to look for evidence even if that head trash is true or false, because it doesn't matter. And if we're always looking for it, we will find it. So if we're always looking for evidence that we don't have enough time, we're always looking for evidence that we're a failure or that we're not enough, we are going to find it. That's how our brains work. And so I found this quote, or I reread the book Braving the Wilderness recently. And she says, stop walking through the world looking for confirmation that you don't belong. You will always find it because you've made that your mission. Stop scouring people's faces for evidence that you're not good enough. You will always find it because you've made that your goal. True belonging and self-worth are not goods. We don't negotiate their value with the world. The truth about who we are lives in our hearts. Our call to courage is to protect our wild heart against constant evaluation, especially our own. No one belongs here more than you. No one belongs on this team doing this job more than you. You belong here. And so me personally, I have personally been working to realize how many times I have been giving up joy or feelings of success because I've decided that I can only feel success or good under very, 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 very specific circumstances. Like my brain is given, like I will only feel successful if this happens. And I'm putting myself in such a tight bind that I'm wind up making myself miserable instead of just enjoying the journey of doing what matters to me, one step at a time. So I've been allowing myself to rewrite what success looks like. For instance, I'll give you a for instance. This is my personal, a little bit vulnerable example of psychological flexibility. Okay, so tonight I've been working on this. I've been formulating it. I've been talking with my diamond friends. I had this planned out to talk to you guys tonight. And my brain tried to give me the story that what if nobody shows up? What if nobody shows up for this call? What if only your mom shows up for the call, which has happened before. I have worked hard and only my mother showed up for the call. And this happened when I was a jewel in the company, right? And in my brain is trying to tell me that means that what you're doing isn't worth anything. My brain is trying to tell me that I'm not a leader because people aren't showing up. Which I know logically isn't necessarily true. People are busy, like you have stuff going on. But my brain has tried to give me the story that it's not worth it, what I'm doing, because nobody would show up. And so then if I had stayed in that brain space, I probably wouldn't have put the work into coming up with that, finding my store or finding the video for Matt, finding having the conversations with my diamond friends. I probably would not have done that if I had stayed in that brain space. But instead I said, thank you, brain, for trying to protect me, but I've got this. I'm moving in this direction because I'm doing it for me, because I'm learning from this. And that's all that I can do. I can't guarantee that the work I'm putting in, I can't guarantee that the messages that I'm going to send to people are going to mean that they're all going to sign up tomorrow. I can't guarantee that, but I am going to show up when I can with the time that I have in between a teething baby and a three-nager. I'm going to show up in that time and do what I can with where I am right now on the little amount of sleep that I have. And I'm going to do it really well. And that is success today. It is not going to be what my life is going to look like in a year. In a year from now, life will be easier, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. It will be easier in a year. But right now it's tough, but I could sit in that place of it's not enoughness, or I can show up with the energy that I have and make a difference with what I have. But I guarantee, I know for me, there's freedom in showing up in the nooks and crannies, because it gives me the energy to show up even more. I was thinking, I built my business as a full-time social worker from my couch after work, because I was excited about it. I wanted to talk to people, I wanted to fit it in the nooks and crannies, and it wasn't stressful. But somewhere along the line, I created this story about time, and I created this story about what success looks like, and it got complicated. And that is the work, friends. Being willing to do that head work and showing up in your values every single day, that is what makes you a diamond. That is what makes you a jewel in this company, is not giving up when it gets hard and when your brain tells you to. You just can't. You can't quit on a hard day. Oh no, did I freeze? I think I froze. I definitely froze. So I talk with my hands, okay?
Sunny, can I piggyback off that for a second?
Please.
I think too, I'm doing this, working through my Kristen Boss training. And she said a lot of times when we get in those spaces where we're struggling with, the hard seasons, or there's an area where we're struggling to show up consistently, or those things, that when we bring in shame because of those things we feel like we're not conquering or mastering, it actually takes us backward and not closer to where we want to go. And that it's okay. We need to give ourselves grace, because none of us will do this perfectly. None of us are going to be perfect in every season. Some are going to be harder than others, and some are easier. But if we allow shame to come in because we're not always our best self in our business or whatever aspect of life, then it's actually going to take us backwards instead of taking us forward. And learning that, maybe there are areas we can work on, maybe time management or consistency or whatever, is recognizing and acknowledging this is an area I can improve, but without doing it with shame is what's going to help you grow and learn how to get better and keep moving forward. Because if you sit in that shame and get so frustrated with it, then that's where you get stuck because it's not helping you move forward. Does that make sense?
100%.
I think it's important to apologize because I know I am quick to be down on myself and put myself down and be like, oh man, you really screwed that up or you should have done this better. And I have to catch myself because that is not getting me closer to my goals or where I want to be. It's actually setting me back. And so recognizing, we talk about mindset so much, but recognizing how we speak to ourselves and the feelings we have surrounding our actions or where we fall short is really important because it's good that we recognize those things, but how we treat those things and ourself matters. Like it matters your thoughts about your shortcomings or your weaknesses. It matters how you think about those things. And so if you are struggling, we all have areas we struggle, right? None of us are perfect in it, but give yourself grace and say, okay, what can I learn from this? Like, how can I do better without dragging yourself down at the same time?
Absolutely.
When Carrie was talking, she's not on here anymore. It made me think, and now with Lauren too. Have you guys ever read, and I pulled it out of my desk drawer right here just now, but have you guys ever read the 4 Agreements? Anybody?
Yes.
Like you guys are hitting the nail on the head on each one of these agreements. If you haven't read it, I'll just give you the 4 agreements, but I highly recommend it. I give this and Delivering Happiness, the story of Zappos, to all my employees when they start, like my business employees. But the 4 agreements is to be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions and always do your best. Those are the 4 agreements that you should have with yourself in your head.
That's so good. My dear social work mentor gave me that book a long time ago. It's a good one. It is a good one.
I had when I was in a real estate career 27 years ago, someone gave this to me, what you need in real estate, probably more than anything. But I go back every couple of years and read it actually, because I feel like I continue to always fall into those traps and the head trash and all that. And it helps me so much. So anyway, I'm glad that you are familiar with it.
Yeah, that's really good. That's good stuff. Laura, when you're talking about shame, I could talk for hours about shame because I like me some Brene Brown and her shame research gets me going. But what we know is that shame thrives in the dark. It thrives when we don't talk about it. It thrives in the comparison trap. When we look left and right and we compare and we think, oh my gosh, I can't tell anyone that I'm as bad at this business as I actually am, or they're going to know. They're going to find out that I am a pile of poo, and that just cannot happen. Like, they cannot know that I'm not consistent with my business, right? Like XYZ, like shame doubles down on us and it thrives in the dark. And the best thing that we can do is this right here. We can say, listen, I am having a serious tug of war right now with this monster named XYZ, and you can share it. And to me, that is the purest form of repentance. That's the purest form of confession, of just saying, this is what I'm dealing with. And then the word repent just means change. It just means change. So we're going to change from the direction that we're going in the direction that we're believing, and we're going to start walking and working in our worth instead of trying to strive and run away from the thoughts that our heads is giving us about life and safety and all XYZ, all those things, right? And so that's why, man, community matters to me. Community matters in this business that we're running with people and doing this together, because it's hard. What we're doing is hard and it's scary, and we're putting ourselves out there, but it's the work, and it's worthy work because we're changing lives. Like, what we're doing is changing lives. We're not slinging supplements, right? This is not shampoo. This is life-changing. Like, this is good stuff. Anyway, I'm just really proud of you guys. I'm thankful to have to be doing life with you and to be working through the hard stuff together. It matters. You guys are doing the work, and I like people that do the work. That's all I have. Do you guys have any thoughts? Any Any other revelations or things to add? I end my classes with questions, concerns, complaints. Anybody? No. Amanda, you unmuted.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, okay. She's gonna say something. No. All right. That's all I have. I ended early, so we can just chat and have fun now.
Sunny, you'll post the recording, I'm sure. Is that right? I want to catch the first half that I missed out
I
on.
am going to post the recording. I'm gonna actually stop the recording.